If a car could talk, and some can if you know how to listen to them, this one will tell you some of the crazy stories you've ever heard. And that's because this particular 2004 Lamborghini Gallardo used to belong to Jackass co-star Bam Margera. If you don't know what Jackass is all about, Jackass was an American reality comedy show where the stars of the show would perform painful and idiotic stunts. And today I borrowed this Lamborghini from RoseLux Motors here in Schnecksville, Pennsylvania, to show you around this amazing car. And I'll tell you a little bit about its history. After that, I will show you some of my favorite features. I'll take it for a drive and then give you my honest feedback on this car. So let's get to it. In the late 1990s, Lamborghini was in trouble. During this time, the company had more failed marriages than Nicolas Cage, and only one car to show for it, the Lamborghini Diablo. An incredible car, but it was one troubled with many inconveniences. Lamborghini knew that they needed something smaller, more practical, more affordable solution to compete with the likes of Ferrari. In 1995, Maurizio Reggiani was first hired by Lamborghini to negotiate a powertrain deal with Audi, who had a great all-wheel drive powertrain and a V8 that they could use. Reggiani recalls that the idea was to create a baby Diablo, if you will. These conversations sparked an interest in Audi, who thought that it might be better for them to just acquire Lamborghini. Audi Auto Group signed a deal to buy Lamborghini on June 13, 1998 for an estimated $110 million, but that was just a mere fraction of what they paid for Bentley. The rest is history, but what we do know is that the fusion between Lamborghini and Audi created some of the most amazing cars the world has ever seen. Out of this merger, Lamborghini benefited by having Audi's vast resources, which helped newer models with their known electrical issues, as well as lack of amenities and features. Audi got a great brand with creative engineers, and together they can now create platforms that can be shared between both companies. We can see that with models like the Gallardo and the Audi R8, the Urus and the Audi RSQ8, and Porsche's Cayenne Turbo GT. One of these platforms is this, the Lamborghini Gallardo. Second best selling car based on sales volumes, followed just by the Urus, which is holding first place right now. Early model Gallardos, 2004, 2005, like this one, came equipped with a 5-liter V10 90-degree engine with dual overhead cam, 4 valves per cylinder, producing 492 horsepower and 376 foot-pounds of torque at 4,500 RPM. And you can choose to roll your own gears or have the e-gear system. You could opt for either one of those. The e-gear system was pretty advanced at the time. Power was delivered to all 4 corners via an all-wheel drive system, which was pretty advanced at the time, and that helped propel the car to 60 in 4.7 seconds, according to Motor Trend. Later models, 2006 to 2008 Gallardos, retained the same drivetrain, but Lamborghini made a lot of small changes after many customers complained about the car. Power output was increased to 520 horsepower with the use of an upgraded exhaust system and some software changes. The suspension was also revised and a new steering rack was installed. Gear ratios were also updated to give the car better performance. In 2006, there was also the introduction of the Spider version. In 2008, we had one of my favorite, the Lamborghini Gallardo Superleggera model. Superleggera is basically an Italian word that means super light. It has been used by many manufacturers in Italy just to indicate that the vehicle has gone through a lightweight construction. And as you would imagine, Superleggera was about 220 pounds lighter and got another 10 horsepower, bringing the total output of the Superleggera to 530 horsepower. The second generation Gallardos, also known as the LP cars, These generally thought to be more robust and more capable cars. These were powered by a new 5.2-liter V10, producing 552 horsepower at 8,000 RPM and 398 foot-pounds at 6,500 RPM. The added power also helped to push this car faster to 60. It made it in 3.7 seconds. We'll be covering the LP cars in another video. Now let's walk around this car, where I'll show you some of my favorite features in the interior. We'll take a look at the exterior. And then we're gonna go for a drive where I'll be talking about the dynamics and the experience of driving Bam Margera's Lamborghini. So now I want to show you some of my favorite features about this car. And one of them is actually not part of this car at all. Many of you may know, Gallardos never came with Lamborghini doors. What? It's insane, but Bam had a fix for that. Check this out. Finally, the Gallardo has Lambo doors. Right, another one of my favorite features of a Lamborghini, the cockpit, the driving position. Now, this being a Lamborghini, I mean, it's not full of features as you would expect from a newer car, but it does have a lot of cool things. The layout of the interior is pretty nice. You have here your controls for the e-gear system, your climate controls, and your entertainment system here, which is just your radio. Right here you can see the amazing Raging Bull emblem right on the steering wheel, and then right in front of you that tachometer peaking at 10,000 RPM for your listening pleasure. And my absolute favorite feature of them all is this button right here. It's the subscribe button. Make sure you hit it. It helps the algorithm, it really does. Another one of my favorite features has to do with the engine, the glorious V10. Oh, just look at that. The sound that comes out of this V10 is just absolutely phenomenal, and it just kept improving with time. As I mentioned before, this is a 5-liter V10 producing 492 horsepower. By today's standards, not supercarish at all, but back then it was quite a good number. And the greatest feature of all has to be, obviously, the design. Just take a step back and admire the lines of this car. Very angular, very crazy. All right, in the Bam-mobile.
Bam-mobile.
Now, Lamborghini Gallardo, 2004, right? So this car has the e-gear system. It has 3 different modes. Automatic is basically, acts as an automatic transmission. Probably not the one mode that you want to be in because it overwears your clutch. Sport mode gives you sharper shifting, more aggressive throttle, and then you have Corsa, which is the one that you want to be in, because that one actually preserves your clutch. I don't know, what mode are we in now?
It's an automatic.
It's an automatic?
Yep.
You want to keep it there, or you
we can leave it whatever you want.
It's up to you.
Just drop it into sport. We'll do that. We'll do that. Yep.
Right away, thinking about the seating position, is quite comfortable from a driving perspective, a spirited driving perspective. I can feel that the seats are pretty stiff, so I can imagine, I can agree, I haven't never driven one of these in a long trip, but I can imagine the people that complain about you know, these cars having very stiff backs coming out of these cars. I can see that.
Oh, yeah.
But the steering wheel, very well placed, paddle shifters right where they need to be, and you get a lot of feedback from the car, which is good. Now there's a little bit of lag initially down low on the throttle, and that's reported to be because of the software. You can purchase an aftermarket throttle controller. Pedal Commander is one of them. They can help you with adjusting that feedback on the throttle. And this one has an original exhaust, right?
Correct. Yep.
Now the interesting part is, and we're not really going to get into the whole Bam Margera situation right now, and you know, we do know, if you guys may know, that there's some issues going on in his life, some mental health issues, as well as some substance abuse. But you know, we hope that the guy does well and comes around. But just thinking about the history of the car, what it's been through, the Gumball 3000, and all the you know, Jackass moments, right, including the sunroof.
Yep. Billy Idol cut the sunroof in this.
Absolutely. It is just, you know, for people like us, our age, that grew up, you know, following Jackass, it is just you know, phenomenal to be in a car like this.
This is a piece of us from growing up and what we saw on television, and to be able to sit here and live it, it's definitely got a really, really cool energy to it.
Absolutely. Downshifts are nice in these V10 Lamborghinis. Brake is proper, it's consistent. And you know what? Visibility is quite nice. You know, you have a lot of visibility. The nice things about the Gallardos is that they're properly sized, as opposed to something like an Aventador, right?
Absolutely.
So they're somewhat relatively easy to drive around. You could potentially drive one of these every day, right?
Definitely a potential for a daily driver with this vehicle, as compared to a lot of the other Lamborghinis, you know.
So the shifting is a little bit aggressive on these older models, which makes it more engaging, I think.
I agree.
You know, a lot of the dual clutch transmissions nowadays, they're obviously quicker, better for track behavior, but on a day-to-day activity, day-to-day life, you want that engagement, you want that, you know, aggressive shift. It's more fun, I think.
Absolutely, you control it, you make it happen.
So great driving car. Thanks for letting us, you know, enjoy this piece of history, comedic history, because I mean that's what Jackass is.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. A lot of memories with that.
Thank you for watching, guys. If you are looking into buying one of these cars, I recommend that you watch my video where I show you what to look for when buying one of these. The link is included right somewhere in here, either up top or below. Go and take a look at that video. I show you in very detail all the things that you should be looking for when buying one of these. But for now, I hope that you enjoyed this video, you find it useful, and if you did, give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe.